Hello, future viewers. I am a reasonable facsimile of Ragdrin.
And there's an 80% chance that I'm Stone of Triumph.
Okay, we are switching factions again. This time we're switching to the tribe. Would you like to describe the tribe in a few words?
Poison flower children.
Very nice. The term smug space hippies is too often thrown around to describe the tribe these days. What is true is that they are a varied and inclusive collection of species, united in the belief that other galactic factions are far too focused on warfare, destruction, and negative thoughts. The tribe dream of a future where different species all just get along, and reluctantly conclude that the only way this is going to become a reality is by the regrettable destruction of the backwards, unenlightened life forms that have not joined the tribe. They're a gratuitous space battles faction, alright?
Yes.
They're almost correct as well.
Well, let's see what they've got.
Yes indeed. Let's check their ship designs. If I could describe the tribe's battle tactics in a short phrase, it would be that they are space trolls.
Yep. They have big penalties to armor and shields, but rather large hull integrity.
Doubled, in fact.
And one of their unique pieces of faction equipment is incredibly powerful repair systems.
Yes, they have the best repair systems in the game. Mm-hmm. And that combined with their hull integrity boost means that they benefit a lot from reinforced equipment, because those have higher hit points than usual, and that extra part is also doubled, of course.
You'd probably want to do that anyway, because they'd be taking hull hits the whole battle anyway.
Yeah. Well, almost. I do give them reflective shields, because the enemy does sometimes open up with beam lasers. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to show off some other specific equipment they have. They use guns.
Yes.
The only faction that uses them, in fact. The cruiser howitzer is a weapon that functions similar to the cruiser laser, which I always call the pulse laser. They are close range, fire fairly rapidly, deal decent damage per second, and blast apart shields especially well.
The fire interval is a bit misleading because they fire salvos of shots.
Yeah, they don't fire this super fast all of the time. It would be a little too overpowered that way. They also have smaller anti-fighter guns.
That tracking speed, though.
Well, they're anti-fighter guns. That's not too surprising. But also, they're frigates. Their frigates can also have guns, which are, for whatever reason, longer range than the cruiser-sized guns, although that's very fortunate for them. Also,
their frigates can have repair systems.
The only faction in the game that can have frigate repair systems as well, which is kind of required since these guys also get the armor and shield penalty. Although I'd say that they benefit more from the repair system than other factions gain from full strength armor and armor and shield, I should say, because we've seen how long those last. Mm-hmm. As for their fighters, they also benefit from having double the usual hull, which is nice because I don't usually give them armor. On the other hand, their fighter design overall is not amazing, so they're kind of going to need those extra hit points. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that covers it pretty well.
Correct.
Aside from that, my unusual design is that I tried making a cruiser with a bunch of light plasma launchers. Also, I would like to state a correction. I thought that those lines to left and right of things were firing arcs. They're actually not. It's just a visual thing. It just shows that in the battle map, it occasionally shows two guns firing at once when it's actually just one.
Correct.
So, if I misled some builds because of this, I apologize.
It's your fault.
It is indeed my fault. Well, let's take a look at the battle. We are invading a gravity well. Apparently the gravity is caused by something weird considering the background of the map. So, first let's look at spatial anomalies. Weapon ranges are reduced by 20%, which is very annoying for having to do custom orders for this particular map. We have a new mechanic as well.
Supply limits. You're not allowed to spam everything you want.
Yes, and they put limits on a whole lot of things, including my own favorite cruiser lasers, which means it's a pretty good thing that I'm using a faction that has what is effectively a duplicate of those things, even though the howitzers themselves are also limited.
Mm-hmm.
I can use both and make do.
Correct.
A whole bunch of other things are limited as well, like ultra-heavy armor, which I never use anyway.
I do.
Also, all kinds of repair systems, but the tribe ones are not limited, which is good news for me. Also, guidance scrambler beams, which I tend to use a fair bit, so that's a little disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move in and deploy the fleet. Since, as I said, doing all of those orders ahead of time is kind of a pain, I made sure to assign the attack ranges beforehand. Although I should give them the order to keep moving. That sometimes helps them preserve themselves a little bit more. And being the Empire, they tend to send fighters a fair amount. Although, I'm wondering if I'm overdoing it a little bit this time. Well, who knows? Better to have too many than not enough.
Okay.
Aside from the gun frigates, I have, I believe, a couple of beam frigates and tractor frigates and the usual kinds that I use. No plasma, though.
But why ever not?
Why use plasma when I have gun?
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, this is a kind of a depressing map to look at. And looks like most of the fighters are coming in from one direction, which is kind of why I shifted my escorts a little bit.
Tractor beams plus fast-firing weapons everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. I have a little bit more anti-fighter equipment than I usually do because guns are cool. How can you say no to guns? Also, if you're a fan of hangar bays, tribe fighters are a little bit better suited for those than most.
Because tribe fighters can actually take hits.
Yes. And that's that.
Yeah, one of the tricks to playing the tribe is to not panic when you see your ships being shot through full of holes and smoking.
Yeah, you can have a tribe ship that's just completely on fire, but actually at full health because it's repaired it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a shame that ships don't sort of remove those flaming decals if the damage is repaired. Anyway, we got the enemies opening up with beam lasers, which is not a great idea. You want those to be your second punch, not your first. And we're firing guns. Now, fights that involve the tribe are a little hard to keep track of than other factions to an extent because there's no visible projectile for those guns.
Well, we lost shields, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Well, you need a certain concentration of force to deal good damage to a tribe ship. Unfortunately, this one has several ships firing at it at once, so they probably do have that concentration of force. Not so much on the upper side, though.
One of you guys got blowed up.
They sure did. I think I didn't really have quite the backline that I was looking for with this particular conflict. That'll be something for me to adjust if I need to start this map over.
Yeah, I don't truck with light plasma generally.
Well, it's hitting okay. It's just I think my starting formation might have needed some work because most of the fighting happened on the lower side, and I wasn't really aimed that way.
Well, you're still winning.
Yeah, that's true. Can't complain too much about that. Also, I forgot to mention, but I guess it's sort of self-evident. First of all, this cruiser is completely fine. It's at full health, in fact, even though it's on fire. Also, there are limits on all kinds of missile launchers, as well as all of the plasmas, and pretty much there's limits on everything. This ship also on fire. It is in fact a little bit worse for wear, but that's okay.
Its guns are still shooting.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It's lost an engine or two, doesn't have its guidance scrambler beam, but they aren't using a whole lot of missiles anyway.
Yeah, they tend to use rockets more than missiles. And besides, your guys have already cleaned up top, so...
Yeah, there's not too much to worry about up here.
So it's just a matter of time until you get through those shields.
I sure hope you're correct. Although missiles are pretty good for this.
I know I'm correct.
And then the beams start hitting, and that's pretty much it. And the guns as well. I didn't mention the guns because, as I said, it's a little tougher to track, but you get the idea. Yet again, we have shown that the only true way to bring peace is to obliterate everyone else.
So we did it.
Yeah. The Tribe Fighters did not have as much to shoot down as I expected, so it's not too surprising that they'd have the least effective mark right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we certainly delivered the damage, and we didn't dodge as much as we usually do, but that doesn't really matter.
Correct.
We deflected a fair amount despite having half shield health and only one shield generator per ship, which just shows you don't lead with beam lasers in this game.
You lead with your left, you hit with your right.
Well, that seems to have finished up the hard mode map. Let's take a look at expert, and let's adjust my formation a little bit, now that I know.
Yeah, let's bring that stuff in a little bit.
And let's take a look at their formation so we can adjust if we have to. Actually, this seems about right. This is more like the sort of thing that my top formation would work well on. Also, looks like they're sending more fighters this time, and from more or less the same direction as well. Okay, well...
I don't foresee them being a problem.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right, because there's quite a few squadrons of them. I count roughly 9 of them.
Eh. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, a lot of the late game maps, or I should say the non-DLC maps, send large swarms of fighters at you at the start.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'll be okay. They're mostly shooting at my fighters, which is the least of my worries, actually.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to really accomplish anything.
Yeah. If anything, I think I still have my fighters a little bit too far up. That's a lot of them, though. They're starting to swarm me kind of bad.
But are they doing any actual damage to anything other than your fighters?
Well, not really, no. That's fair. And there they go. Okay, I think I can move to 2 times speed.
Yeah, if you're about to make contact with the first of the real enemy ships.
Yeah, frigate tractor beams are just so good for this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, were those introduced in a DLC? I forget.
Frigate tractor beams?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They're in the base game. I can put them on whatever I want.
Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, it's the triple tractor beams that are later on.
Yeah.
Those are cruiser only for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And, well...
I know that takes care of that guy.
We got these fancy schmancy shields versus gun.
Mm-hmm. Now, what the Empire does use as far as missiles go is multi-warheads.
Yes, they love their multi-warhead missiles. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily worried about them, because while missiles are versatile for a lot of things, one thing they're kind of lacking is damage per second, and the tribe is one of the few factions where damage per second kind of matters a lot, and not just for winning faster than the enemy does. That's that darn regeneration.
Well, your formation kind of maneuvered.
Yeah, it moved in a way that I didn't really like, but I'll see what I can do.
It really depends on. Oh, right. They have a lot of stuff down there too.
Yeah, they do. But well, it's a little tough to say which way this is gonna go. It's not that I can't deal the damage. That's rarely a problem with my designs. It's more like, can they survive long enough? The good news is that actually the ship is perfectly okay. Never mind. Yeah, this one is not okay, but that, you know what? I'll live probably.
It's actually tough to tell right now. Oh wait, it's a lot less tough to tell right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got it. I sometimes concentrate a little bit too much on the hits that I'm taking instead of paying attention to the enemy ships that are exploding, actually. Unfortunately, this ship was a little unlucky in that its repair systems were destroyed first. Not much you can do to control that, I'm afraid.
So the top has been cleared out and you still have that heavier metal around here.
Yeah. I've lost all my... Well, okay, most of my frontliners. I don't know how this ship is still alive. It probably has like 3 hit points.
Okay.
But this is the trick that the Empire used right now, and it's fairly good. It kept a bunch of fighters on escort so that they can still kind of attack me after the battle has resumed. That's one of the reasons I put my own fighters on escort a lot of the time.
Let's see. Well, I think you got this one.
Yeah, they're not going to kill too many tribe ships with just what they have right now. Especially since they're kind of spreading their targets.
And I think you'll be good at right after you take out this guy.
Yeah, one thing I like about this light plasma is it's hitting pretty much all of its shots. And they do have a faster refire rate. They have other problems though, which is why I don't normally use them.
What other problems?
Well, their range isn't as good for one.
Okay. And you got it.
I kind of use them to fill in for beam cruisers since I don't have enough beams on this map. Well. That just about wraps it up. They dealt a huge amount of hull damage, but I guess because it's the tribe, that wasn't good enough.
Correct.
Now, for a word from our sponsor. Now, most of our ads have been targeted towards people who can afford the best of the best, but not everyone has that luxury. So, our sponsor this time is affordable defenses. The Light Shield Generator.
When your priority is hitting at budget targets rather than actually defending your ship, this shield generator looks better on paper than facing enemy cruisers. Light shields, because you gotta put something there.
Light shields, yes, well, don't put those on cruisers.
Yeah, their shield resistance is garbage.
Their shield strength will maybe 2 beam lasers and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And beam lasers are what shields are supposed to be strong against. And there's a lower scale version of this as well.
Frigates.
For frigates.
Take it away.
Super light shield generator. Sometimes it's worth having a minimal shield defense without wasting money on a system which the big cruisers will only laugh at anyway. No, it's not. Even fighter lasers, the puniest weapon you're gonna find, will still get through this. There is a second kind of fighter weapon which has even worse shield penetration that might bounce off of this, but it's not worth it. You're not gonna see that a whole lot. Also, not super light, just normal light shields. It's often a good idea to have at least minimal shields, else your frigate can become fighter food, and this low-power shield module keeps the shield up and the costs down. This one still won't stop those fighter lasers, which are the most common fighter weapons around, so no.
Of course.
What you gonna do? You can't... Okay, no wait, I'm advertising these. Don't let the numbers fool you. These shields will look great on your mantelpiece. Or something. And that just about covers it for today.
Alright.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our battles. We're going to see the tribe one more time. So, I'll see you then.
See ya.